Today we're going to be making a 1/0 35 kV 200 amp elbow. So you'll get your instructions as everything else, and also you are going to leave excess length on the cable because you need drain wires to go to be able to tie in for your grounding. So go ahead and have extra cable laid out, kind of have an idea where your end is according to what you're making up, and measure to your bushing. So you can line your template up on there. Let me zoom to you a little bit to kind of see where his thumb is at the end of the conductor. Look on that template. So then he's going to take his mark all the way back, which is actually 8.5 inches from the end, to make that mark. Alright, you can ring it back there with your cable ringers. And you'll get down to the end of your cable and just get a hold of one of the drain wires coming out there, concentric neutral wire, and start working it, pulling it back with your pliers to get it to where you ring your cable. When you get down to that point, you want to be careful, be smooth. You do not want to tear through your jacket. You want to be just right where you take it. Alright, then you'll go ahead and go back and you'll just start you'll undo your jacket, taking care to keep the drain wires on the cable, because they will try to hang because they are embedded in your jacket. Okay, at this point you will take a piece of mastic and you will put it right there at the back of the jacket takeoff. And then you will bend all your drain wires back. You can see he does a couple at a time. You can kind of tap them down in a little bit. Take another piece of mastic and go over the top. And then you will tape them up. Slide your cold shrink kit on with the string going away from the end of the cable, away from the end of the cable. Alright, now you can put your template back up on there again to get your cutoff mark. As you can see, we'll put it up against the end of the cable, and then we're going to mark right there where the conductor ends. Shows the lug on there. You want to make sure you mark at the conductor. And get your cutters. And cut right on your mark. Now you're going to get your template again to mark your semicon takeoff. Make sure you have a good square mark on there to start with and be the exact point. semicon score set. You got your spiral cut and square cut. Of course, we're going to start on square cut as long as you know you've got the right setup on it. Get your one rotation on a square, and then you're going to go to spiral cut and work your way down. We put a little grease in there in the bottom ledge of the bottom track of the semicon scores. You get to the end, watch where it comes out and undo it before you come off, or it will slap together. Now you take your needle nose, duck bills, whichever you're comfortable with and prefer, and then work your semicon off. You do want to work on getting that as smooth as you can on that cut at the end. And that's a nice square cut right there. Now you'll get your La Machine insulation stripper, and you will need to get a measurement for your connector takeoff, which does show on your template what your measurement is. 2 1/8. So he'll put it up there and mark that insulation. And what he also has option of on your insulation stripper, there is a guide. Now you want to make sure that you follow that exact dot to get that 2 1/8, and you get it good and tight, and it will stop it for you automatically, and you don't have to worry about going too far. So you get it on there, make sure your depth is correct for your blade. See how I kind of go backwards a little bit, just kind of watch it and see how it looks. Then you can go to a spiral cut. And just go ahead and with a little force push it to go on, and just kind of keep a little force on it. You don't have to push hard. On your spiral cut, go with the depth you're comfortable with on how it spirals, how much spiral to use. And you can, once you get it to where you need it to be, where it bumps, you can go ahead and go to square cut. And just turn and just pull back. Take care of getting these off so you don't get the strands all separated. You want them to stay nice and smooth. You will use the lug with the kit, and when you put it on there, again, if you're on a transformer, a boot station or what have you, you want to make sure you have that lined up properly before you would put your lug on. So when you're ready to put the lug on, you go ahead and conductor brush, aluminum, and then as soon as you do, slide your lug on. The aluminum does start to oxidize immediately. As you can see the grease in there, that grease will help prevent the oxidation. Okay, so you get your lug on, get it lined up proper, and on these you can use a little shotgun press. And you want to rotate 90 degrees for every press. And this lug about 4 presses is good. If you start getting too much, it will start to bend over in banana shape on you, which makes it hard to get your elbow to line up on there and then to get the probe in there that needs to go for inside the bushing. All right, now at this point you're gonna cable clean. You're gonna bevel. I'm sorry, on the cable clean, we're gonna bevel first. When you take your insulation off, another option on the bevel, when you take your insulation off, you can use a 2-knot penciling tool and just make a couple twists with it by hand before you put your lug on there, and it'll make a nice little easy bevel for you. So now we'll cable clean it real good. Taking care not to touch the semicon with the cable clean. Just wrap it on there, make some good twists all the way down to the lug. And you'll take one and go the other way a little bit. Again, you don't want to really put the cable clean on the semicon hardly. You want to really just kind of get it there and then clean it off. See how he did right here. All right, now you want to grease it up. Take care to make sure everything is clean, even your elbow as well, which we had pre-cleaned before we started, so it's ready. And just get grease liberally on there, get some inside of it. And you're going to slide it on. And look up in your hole, make sure your lug is lined up accordingly. You will take your probe, and the elbow kit comes with the L-shaped tool there that can get used, but also a lot of trucks have a probe install tube that's real easy to use, and that's what we're going to use here today. Alright, and just make sure it's lined up. Carefully get your threads in there. Don't cross thread it. If you're using your L-tube tool, you want to twist that lug till it's tight and it bends that little rod a little bit. On this one, it's got a torque. It'll break over when it gets to that point. You'll hear it click when we get it all the way tight. Here it goes. There you go, and that's all you need. And then got the little button. Depress the button and pull it out. And then we'll go ahead and slide our cold shrink tube up on there. And start shrinking it down. Once you get it going, just over and over, just until you get it all the way out. At that point, when you get it out, I recommend cable tie right below that cold shrink. That way when you go to train your concentric neutral wires, you don't have to worry about moving that cold shrink any for the waterproofing. You want to keep that down tight, and you want it to keep continuing to get tight. You can see where we stopped that on there. I'm going to pull in real close so you can kind of see where you need to stop that cold shrink. See right below your eye there, and that's where you're going to put a piece of number 12 or number 14 wire and wrap it down to get onto the drain wires and go to your grounding. And that's our 1-knot elbow. Again, you will train the drain wires accordingly on your job by field.